Good morning, everyone, and welcome to my third video of digestion. And we've covered the process of digestion, the entire anatomy of the alimentary canal in the past two videos. And today we'll just learn about the absorption of digested food material and the diseases of digestive system. So let's just get started with absorption. Now, okay, the food is digested in the small intestine, and it's broken up into amino acids and fatty acids and glycerol and glucose, etc., into those small monomers. Monomers is just one single molecule. So now these molecules have to be taken into the bloodstream so that they're taken into these tissues and they're assimilated there. Assimilation matlab the tissues take up this blood or the nutrients which are given by the food, and they utilize that nutrients for their energy related activities, mostly respiration. So let's start with absorption. Now, absorption takes place from the small intestine mostly, and it can be either simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, or active transport. Simple diffusion is nothing but movement of particles from a region of high concentration to low concentration. So, some molecules like glucose, amino acids, and electrolytes like Cl minus ions, chloride ions, they're taken into the bloodstream from the small intestine by simple diffusion. Matlab, small intestine has more amount of these substances than the bloodstream outside, so they're pulled by it. So high concentration to low concentration. Now let's come to facilitated diffusion. So sometimes these molecules just can't cross the membrane of small intestine, so they need a specific protein or a carrier protein for them to move across the membrane. So they use these carrier proteins in order to move across the intestinal membrane into the bloodstream, and that is facilitated diffusion, followed by active transport. Active transport is almost the opposite of simple diffusion. Simple diffusion में तुम्हें एनर्जी की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ती because it goes from high to low concentration. High to low concentration. But this one, it goes from low to high concentration. मतलब intestine के अंदर these substances have a very low concentration, so they utilize energy from ATP, adenosine triphosphate, that is the energy currency, and then they move to the bloodstream, which has a higher concentration of these substances. Again, examples are glucose, amino acids, and some kinds of electrolytes like sodium ions. Okay, and also osmosis. So water moves through the semi-permeable membrane by the process of osmosis that we all know very well. This is the absorption process from the intestine only. And now we also see that throughout the alimentary canal, different substances are absorbed at different places. Like in the mouth, some of the receptive cells in the tongue, they absorb some kind of soluble drugs. And in the stomach, we have substances like water, simple sugars, or alcohol being absorbed. And in the large intestine, we have waters, minerals, and drug which are absorbed so that they do not go along with the fecal matter. That brings us to what the last process in digestion, that is excretion or defecation. So in that, all the absorbed substances are taken up by the bloodstream. So whatever waste is left moves into the large intestine, as we already studied. So now in the large intestine, all these waste substances, they build up in the rectum, and this releases a neural reflex. Matlab, this passes a message to the brain, which in turn gives a neural reflex to our rectum, which gives us an urge to remove these substances from our body. So after this, a voluntary process, matlab, it happens not involuntarily. The entire digestion process is involuntary, that is, we do not control it. But defecation is a voluntary process in which we voluntarily remove the waste substances out of our body, and this is guided by a mass peristaltic movement. Peristalsis हमने already देख लिया कि alimentary canal में पूरी जगह this movement keeps happening, the muscular movement for the food to pass through. Similarly, defecation में भी there is a huge peristaltic movement for the fecal matter to go out of our body. So this is all about absorption. Let's come to the last and I think the smallest part of the chapter, that is the diseases associated with the digestive system. Mostly these diseases are caused by organisms like helminths, etc., and hookworm, roundworm, which cause the inflammation of our intestine. But apart from that, there are many other diseases. The first one we'll talk about is jaundice. Jaundice में क्या होता है that the bile juice is there, right? So I told you bile contains several pigments known as biliverdin and bilirubin. These are yellow in color. So because of the release of bile juice, excessive secretion of bile juice, our body and our eyeballs, everything turn yellow in color, and this disease is known as jaundice. Let's come to the second one, that is vomiting. So vomiting, we all know, the egestion of the digested matter in our stomach through our mouth, and this is controlled by a place in our brain known as the vomit center, and it's present in the medulla. Medulla is the part of the brain which forms the hind brain, and it's also known as the brain stem. Now the third disease is diarrhea, and diarrhea is caused due to improper bowel movement. Bowel movement matlab our large intestine itself, and this causes liquid fecal discharge, and it also is an indication of improperly digested food. Now let's come to the fourth one, that is constipation. Constipation to sabne suna hoga. So constipation is the retainment of the fecal matter in our rectum, and it causes a feeling of fullness in our stomach. That is, we won't be able to eat further because the excretory products are not excreted on their own, and they're retained in the rectum itself. Now the fifth one is indigestion. Indigestion is again due to irregular frequency of digestion. So the food is not completely digested, and this is because of either less secretion of enzymes, anxiety, food poisoning, or even eating spicy food. So that is it. These are the 5 diseases which are related to the digestive system. Now let's come to the 6th type of disease, known as protein energy malnutrition. Protein allergy malnutrition is caused usually in a younger group of children, and it was widely seen in during times of crisis wherein protein-rich diet was absent, like the war in Bangladesh or in Ethiopia. So in such cases, the diet isn't nutritious, and that causes a lot of abnormalities in younger children. So protein allergy malnutrition, we learned 2 diseases which we've been learning since grade 9. That is kwashiorkor and marasmus. Okay, let's start with marasmus. Marasmus is seen in children who are less than 1 year of age, and this disease occurs in them because the mother suddenly replaces her protein-rich milk with food which is not rich in protein and calories. So marasmus includes protein and calorie deficiency. So this causes thinning of the body parts and limbs, and skin becoming dry and scaly, and there is a word used for this known as emaciation. That is the thinning or the body losing a lot of weight, and there is also mental retardation accompanied with it. So we have to just remember that marasmus is protein and calorie deficiency. Now let's come to kwashiorkor. Kwashiorkor is only protein deficiency, and it occurs in children who are infants. That is not just children who are lesser than 1 year, but children who are greater than 1 year too. But their milk diet is replaced with something which has high calorie but less protein. It has the same symptoms as marasmus, just that a bit of fat is still left under the skin because there is no calorie deficiency. But kwashiorkor mein there is edema. Edema matlab swelling up of body parts, which is not there in marasmus. And what happened, the children who are more susceptible to these diseases are of those mothers who are the first babies. Like a mother has a first baby and she starts giving that baby milk, but during the lactation period itself she becomes pregnant again, and that leads to the baby not getting the mother's milk for its entire period of growth, and that leads to diseases like kwashiorkor and marasmus. So that is it, protein, energy, malnutrition diseases, and you just have to read the chapter now. Read every line of NCRT, read every single diagram along with its marking, and if you have any doubts, please let me know either on my Instagram or down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be starting with respiration in the next chapter, the next video. And yeah, see you all.